187 at 5810 Murata Avenue. Homicide wants you over there. The coroner thinks the broad was whacked using the army morphine. Don't say anything, Roy. Just get over there.
Creo que sabes trabajar y solo.
LAPD, ma'am. Are you all right?
That lowlife! That filthy lowlife!
Ok,
What happened?
están molestas las abuelitas.
I was standing ready to get off and I heard a click. His camera. That pervert took a picture of my... up my...
Which way did he go?
There! That's him! Right there!
Oh, ok.
Ah,
Pervertido, Y creo que va a escapar en mi turno. Vamos, vamos.
Go on, Phelps. Get after that creeper.
Yo te estoy esperando a ti. Al fin, me ayudó un poco. Ya se detenido. Me sorprende que siga vivo.
Hands behind your head. You're under arrest for public indecency. Oh, Christ.
Largo, a ver, ¿qué nos tiene por acá? La escena.
Second floor, apartment 6, in the back.
Bukowski, you made homicide. That I did. Good to see you, Phelps.
You two want a hug? Or can we get on with it?
Relax, Rusty. 26 years old, fashion model. Found in the tub by the cleaning lady, Mrs. Reynoldson. She called it in. We heard Carruthers thinks...
Carruthers likes to make work for people. Overdose of sleeping pills. Falls asleep in the tub. Rest in peace. Case closed.
Here, here. Mal is 100% that it's murder. Do you mind if I take a look around? Sure. Go right ahead.
Investiguemos un poco.
Mal, we've had a look around. Rusty thinks it's a waste of time. What's your theory?
Come on, Mal. Tell us why we were dragged down here.
If the victim was alive when she entered the tub, water would have entered her lungs. The water is violently churned in the windpipe as she drowns. The result is that a lot of foam is generated. This foam is found at the mouth and nostrils in almost all cases of real drowning. Notice anything about our Vic?
May I took a look?
Be my guest. Take a closer look at
¿Por
her head and
qué
neck.
su brazo está tan herido?
Very unusual ring.
Wow.
Could be wrong, but it looks like a black sapphire.
Por si acaso.
The neck is bruised pretty badly.
Sí, se ve bien mal.
The eyes are a classic sign of morphine.
Esto
The
faltaba.
bruises tell their own story. I think one man held her down and another held her arm and injected her. They put her in the bath to try to cover it as a drowning.
Spread a trail of barbiturates.
Take a look around outside on your way out and see if you can find the syrettes. It would make my theory.
Morphine would have been very quick, and there wouldn't have been much of a struggle.
Okay, so find two guys who recently bought syrettes and weren't junkies, and you might be onto something.
I'm Detective Phelps. I'm here to try and help Julia. Do you mind answering some questions?
Virginia Reynoldson, I'm just so shocked. I feel like there's something I should be doing, someone I should call.
We can make those calls, ma'am. Who needs to be notified?
That's just it. I don't know. Miss Julie doesn't have any family in town. Someone has to set her affairs in order. Mr. Henderson, maybe? Who else is there? I don't know.
If you give the details to the other detectives, ma'am, they can try and get in contact. Was Miss Randall depressed about something? Upset?
No more than normal.
¿Serio?
What are you hiding here, Mrs. Reynolds? Julia was obviously disturbed about something.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Pero usa pastillas. Su jefa.
She was taking barbiturates. She couldn't sleep. You must have seen them in her room.
You've seen the pillbox, the things she hid in there. I don't know how she supported herself. Always new clothes and jewelry. She lived like a movie star. A princess. Does modeling really pay that well?
Did Miss Randall have many friends visit?
I'm not sure. I only come around twice a week.
No,
Why
no te
are you
creo.
lying to me, Mrs. Reynolds? Julia had men stay here.
I will not speak ill of the dead. You can't prove that.
Por la casaca que era
Who
carísima.
owns the smoking jacket?
I
Bueno,
wouldn't
me
like to
gustó.
tell tales, you understand. That's Mr. Henderson's. An older man, very distinguished looking. He seemed very much in love with her.
Where would we find him?
I'm sorry, I don't know. He said he lives in San Francisco.
What was it like working for Miss Randall?
Perfectly fine, officer.
Do you do the
Te
housekeeping
voy
on
a
a
querer
regular
por eso
basis?
es.
Twice a week since Miss Julie moved here from New York.
Thanks, Mrs. Reynolds. You've been very helpful. One of the other detectives will take your statement, and then you can go home. Devon,
Vámonos.
Rusty, we'll take a look around outside and then follow up these leads. Can you get some guys to run down the jacket?
You think Carruthers has called it right?
Estamos aquí. Entremos en acción.
Well, hello. What can I help you with today?
LAPD, ma'am.
I hope I haven't done anything wrong.
No, ma'am. We're making some inquiries about Julia Randall. Does she work here?
No, I had to let her go. Is she in some sort of trouble?
She was found dead this morning. How long had Julia worked as a model?
Well, she worked in New York before coming here. She was a very beautiful girl.
Eso es
Can you tell
cierto.
us why you let Miss Randall go?
Husbands sometimes come in here with their wives. When Julia Randall modeled, the husbands were often more interested in her than they were their wives' dresses. The wives weren't happy, and neither was I.
Did she have any close friends here?
Actually, yes. Heather Swanson. Would you like to speak with her?
I'd like that very much. Please don't inform her about Miss Randall's death.
Very well, officer. Heather, these gentlemen are from the LAPD.
I'm Detective Phelps. This is Detective Earl. I understand that you worked with Julia Randall, Miss Swanson?
Yes. Julia helped me get my job here. She's not in any kind of trouble, is
She's
she?
a hellraiser, isn't she? Lives a fast life.
Oh, no. Maybe Mrs. Stanley would call her that, but I wouldn't. She's full of life, a wonderful company.
That's a lovely engagement ring.
Do you like it? Henry gave it to
I'm
me.
very interested in engagement rings. Do you mind if I take a closer look? That's some pearl, Miss Swanson. Would have cost Henry a fortune. He must really love you.
Sospechoso.
How did you meet Julia?
I was introduced through my fiancé, Henry Arnett.
Okay.
Henry is your beau. Tell us about it.
Yes, he is. Henry has a fashion business. He and Julia have been friends for years.
Are Miss Randall and Mr. Henderson engaged?
Who's he?
She was wearing a sapphire engagement ring. Someone must have given it to her.
She never mentioned a man named Henderson to me.
That's all for now, Miss
Interesante.
Swanson. Could you ask your fiancé to visit Hollywood Police Station? It would be very helpful to our inquiry.
Now, wait a moment. I don't
Pasó.
think I'll pass on that message until you tell me why you're asking all these questions.
¿Qué preguntas desea que le conteste,
Julia Randall
señorita?
was found dead this morning.
Ustedes saben lo que pasó.
Oh, no. Oh, I can't believe it.
Lo siento.
She was so full of life.
Yes, sir, your name?
LAPD. We'd like to see Dr. Stoneman.
Dr. Stoneman is with a patient. Would you like to wait?
No. We
No,
wouldn't.
no puedo
Tell
esperar.
him we
No
want to see
tengo
him now.
un minuto de
There's
esto.
no need to be rude.
Save it,
Lo
sister.
necesito
Dr.
ahora.
Stoneman, I have some gentlemen from the LAPD here to see
Doctor
you.
Stoneman.
Send them in, please. I'll see this patient again after they've left.
Your investigation is much more important than my sciatica. I'm just in pain here. Leave me alone.
Dr. Stoneman, we are investigating the death of one of
Yo
your
pensé que era el
patients,
gordito.
Julia Randall.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Do you mind if we ask you some questions about Ms. Randall?
Not if it doesn't compromise doctor-patient privilege, Detective.
How well did you know Ms.
¿Alguna
Randall?
relación?
Barely at all. She'd only been a patient 6 months or so.
¿En serio?
Julia Randall has been your patient for nearly a year. I'm sure you know that.
Do you doubt my veracity, Detective? Do you have access to my patient records?
¿Recuerda la pomada?
Your prescriptions contradict you, Doctor.
Miss Randall was in the fashion business, as you probably know. She was jumped up on Benzedrine by day and knocked down by sleeping pills at night. I told her to slow up, but no. Life was too short for her.
And you supplied the prescription for the Benzedrine.
It's not illegal, Detective. A lot of young women in her line of work use it for weight loss.
You wrote Julia Randall a prescription for Benzedrine. How can you account for that?
Miss Randall was in the fashion business. She wanted to control her weight.
A mí no me engañas.
Benzedrine is addictive, as I'm sure you know, Doctor.
As I warned her, but she was determined. She said she needed it to control her appetite.
Sounds like you knew her pretty well.
I knew the line of work she was involved in.
That'll be all for now, Dr. Stoneman. We'll be in touch.
Présteme su teléfono.
Operator, give me dispatch.
Putting you through now.
Cole Phelps, badge 1247.
How can I help, Detective?
Messages for me, please.
Yes, Detective. The coroner's been asking to speak to you. I can connect the call if you like.
Please, thank you. Al?
Cole, can you get over here? I just finished the autopsy.
Sure thing, Mal. We'll be right over.
Cole, Roy, I have some information for you.
Ok.
You're the only
Cuéntame.
person enjoying this, Mal. Get on with it.
The bruising confirms 2 sets of hands, so we have 2 killers. Death was caused by heart failure due to an overdose of morphine.
Have you dragged us down here to gloat? We already heard your theory.
We agree that she was murdered.
Yes, of course.
I have something else to show you.
All right, Mal, what gives?
The dead guy's name is Jimmy LeBlanc, career burglar. He came in this morning. Someone stove his head in with a lump of 2x4.
So what? Good riddance.
I found 2 syrettes in his jacket pocket.
Wow.
Hang on a minute, Roy. We're listening, Mal.
No sign of morphine use and no metabolized morphine in his blood. Scratch marks on his face.
Which could be from getting his head remodeled.
Time of death, Mal.
Maybe an hour or 2 after the Randall girl.
So you're saying Laughing Boy here could be one of our killers? That's a hell of a long shot.
Thanks, Mal. We'll check it out.
I found something else.
Veamos.
Sorry, I don't play.
I don't know if it's significant. His wallet was empty. The only other things he was carrying were the harmonica and the morphine.
Ok, eso no lo esperaba.
Carruthers. Yeah, he's here. I'll send him over. They have a guy called Henry Arnett in interview 2 for you next door. Let me know how you get on.
Sure, Mal. And thanks for the lead.
Sure, Mel. Thanks for the lead.
Mr. Arnett, I'm Detective Phelps. This is Detective Earl. Thanks for coming in.
Call me Henry. It's the least I could do. Terrible news about Julia.
How well did you know Julia Randall?
Vaguely. I'm in the clothing business, and Julia occasionally modeled with me.
¿Eso es cierto?
He's asking whether you banged her in a chuck-on-the-shoulder fraternity kind of way.
I'm engaged to be married. It wouldn't be polite.
Answer the question.
This will remain private. Heather won't have to know. Yes. We had relations.
Miss Randall's landlady said she was seeing an older man.
Could have been. I wasn't privy to all the details of Julia's private life.
Mientes.
Henry, I don't like when people lie to me. She was seeing a man named Henderson. You know who I'm talking about.
Easy on, Detective. I may have heard of Henderson, but I don't know his full name. I think he's from New York or someplace back east.
¿En serio? Porque él... ¿La ceñito?
That's funny. Julia told her cleaning lady that he lived in
cosas.
San Francisco.
Okay, you got me. I don't know where he's from. Julia wanted money. She always wanted money. She thought she could get something from this guy.
She was wearing a distinctive engagement ring. You think she might have convinced him to buy it for her?
Maybe he did, yeah. Maybe he and Julia were getting serious.
Ever heard of a Jimmy LeBlanc?
No. Should I have? Is he an entertainer or something?
So you wouldn't have any reason to believe that LeBlanc would be involved in Julia Randall's murder?
If this guy is a criminal, he might have been involved. But like I said, I've never heard of this LeBlanc character.
Heather told us that you were in fashion.
That's right.
I'm telling you, it'll never stick. You'll get roasted. You're some kind of traveling salesman?
Once I got out of the Corps, I used my...
You were in the Marines?
Sure. I'm proud of it. Fighting 6th.
You were in the 6th Marines?
Yes. I was a captain.
Which company?
Various companies. We had a lot of casualties.
Which engagements?
Okinawa. A couple of other places.
That'll be all for now, Henry. You've been very helpful.
No estuvo en la guerra.
That son of a bitch was never in the Marines. Why'd you let him off the hook?
Because we're giving him a couple of minutes before we start tailing him. Arnett is an amateur. We need to find out who
Después te
killed
cuento
the
mi
girl.
truco, hijo.
Can you pass this on to Bukowski? Have him check the place out and go through his records.
Sure, I'll pass it on.
Thanks. Can you also have R&I run the records on a Jimmy LeBlanc and find out who was his last arresting officer? Have them get in touch via KGPL when they have some information.
He's in that car at the lights.
He was squirming like a worm in there. Don't you love it when they pull the war hero excuse?
¿Está en la tienda? Eso estuvo cerca. Ya, hay que seguir.
That's right, Mexico City. One-way ticket, please. Next available seat.
That would be 1 day from now. Is that okay?
It's going to have to be.
LAPD, the man who just came in here, he bought a ticket?
Yes, sir. To Mexico City, tomorrow night.
If you hear from him again, don't mention this conversation.
What have you got?
He bought a ticket from Mexico City. Tomorrow night.
That's good. But this is better.
Oh my God. It's Fabergé.
Should have seen the look on the pawnbroker's face when I told him to hand it over.
A ver. Se escapa. Vamos, compañero, tú puedes.
Give him a hand.
Right behind you, Wallace. Detective Phelps.
Wallace, go left.
Uy, compañero.
Throw out the guns.
Vamos, compañeros, avancemos. Yo te cubro.
Take cover.
Eso es.
Thanks. Outstanding warrant, armed robbery. Knocked over a drugstore back there, and it looks like he brought his whole posse with him. Bad luck for them.
They're all yours now. We need some information.
Ever heard of a burglar goes by the name of Jimmy LeBlanc?
Sure. Nabbed Jimmy on a burglary beef a couple of years back. They cut through a music shop and into a jewelry store. He got 4 years. I miss his partner, though.
His partner?
Big guy. I had him cornered, and he picked up this huge display case and threw it out a plate glass window. Then he vaulted out of there like something out of Barnum and Bailey.
Got away.
I would have had him, except for LeBlanc yelling, "Run for it, Willie!"
And you think he was an acrobat of some sort?
More like a strongman, a wrestler, or a boxer, that kind of thing.
Thanks. You've been a big help.
You haven't done too badly yourself.
Caught up with Mal. He's given us the dope on LeBlanc. He worked burglaries with a big guy. Goes by the name of Willie. He might be our killer. Can you work boxing gyms, the Y, promoters, that kind of stuff?
Since when have you started giving orders, Phelps? And where's the burglary angle? There was no sign of a...
Veo que mi compañero se mete en todo, gorrito.
We speak to Lacey about a list of recent burglaries.
Creo
Guy's a
que
bum. His office is a
se
front,
no,
behind on the rent and his phone.
Agarro cariño.
And he's skipping town tomorrow.
Y se volvió
Let's get him
tóxico.
in and beat it out of him.
Do you want to bring in the killer, Rusty?
It could be too smart for your own good, Phelps. We've been talking about that, haven't we, Roy?
Hay que llamarle así, el amigo tóxico.
On.
Finbar? Sir, I need the contraband list. Items stolen over the last year.
Hang on, I'll dig out a copy for you. Here you go.
Thanks.
Is the cigarette case on there?
Creo que es este.
Even the engagement ring was purloined. Arnett is a cad.
Nice house.
Obvio. A ver.
LAPD, ma'am. Is Mrs. Eavestrom in?
She is. Would you follow me, sir?
I am Mrs. Eavestrom. How may I help you?
We appear to have recovered some stolen goods that belong to you, ma'am.
Yes, of course. That terrible burglary. Would you like something to drink?
No, thank you, ma'am. We have some questions, if you don't mind.
Why would I mind, young man, if you are returning 43 pieces of my property?
Okay, before we get down to that, I'll have a scotch. Thanks, straight up.
Maria, can you get the detective a drink, please?
Okay.
Can you describe to us what was stolen?
It would be easier to describe what wasn't stolen, detective. A priceless tiara that has been in the family.
Ese tonito no me agrada,
A Fabergé cigarette case that was worth $25,000.
¿En serio?
Why are you lying about the value of your jewelry, Mrs. Eavestrom?
Who do you think you are, making heinous accusations in my own home?
Tenemos algo que es suyo.
We recovered the cigarette case from a pawnbroker. No one knows the real value of an item better than those guys.
I inflated its value for the insurance claim. There. Are you satisfied? My daughter's boyfriend was quite taken with the case. I think he was even more disappointed than I was when it was stolen.
What can you tell us about the burglary?
That terrible night. At least a year ago. But let's not go into that. Let's talk about what you've recovered.
Pues me gustaría saber un poco más.
Were you in the house when the burglary took place?
Good heavens, no. I was at a social function held by a Dr. Harold Stoneman and his lovely wife. I returned home and all of my things were missing.
That's about it for now, Mrs. Eavestrom. The department will get in touch and let you know how you can recover your valuables.
You've only mentioned a few of the items that have been stolen, Detective.
Okay.
What else has been recovered?
You see, Phelps? That's why you get the drinks in early.
Hello, Mother. Hello, detectives. What is going on?
No me
I'd like to
esperaba
ask
esto,
exactly the same question.
You have met my daughter?
This morning at work. Oh, Mother and Father divorced. I took my father's name.
The detectives recovered some of the things that were stolen, darling.
Well, what did you find?
A sapphire ring on the corpse of Julia Randall.
What are you talking about?
Your engagement ring, Miss Swanson. Would you be surprised to know that it was part of the proceeds of a burglary?
That's an outrageous allegation.
Yes, it is. I suggest we go straight to Henry Arnett's place and sort this mess out.
Ok. Pero creo que valió la pena porque ya estamos acá.
Welcome, sir. I'm sorry, are you a resident?
LAPD detectives. We're here to speak to Henry Arnett.
Oh, Mr.
Háblame
Arnett?
bonito, ¿quieres?
Apartment 30. You can take the lift.
Thank you.
Well, isn't this just nice and awkward?
Stop!
LAPD!
Don't kill him, Cole. This guy's our case.
Go on, get
Put your
Ok,
hands in
ok.
the air.
Te voy a atrapar.
Give it up, LAPD!
Oh, eso fue un golpe bajo.
Looks like he got you good, Phelps.
Dime.
Really packs a wall.
Sí.
How did I get back here?
Under your own steam, miraculously. You came in through the window, said hello, and then keeled over.
How was our net?
He's coming around, too. He's all hopped up. Good time to get some answers.
You missing something, Henry? You told Heather you're honeymooning without her? Vacheron Constantine. That's an
Monitor.
extremely expensive watch, Henry.
Sí, se ve muy caro.
A graduation present from my parents.
We know all about the jewelry ring. You and Randall and
Tú me
the
tienes
Bond
que
and Willie
contar,
doing
eh.
the legwork.
I'm in the fashion business.
Mientes.
Lying. How can you prove that I'm involved, detective?
Tenemos la caja de cine.
Because you pawned a Fabergé cigarette case today for $600. A case that is on a list of stolen items.
It was Julia's idea. Get a list of society parties, find out where and when, and then have the guests burgled. Julia was desperate for money. No matter how much we made, she always wanted more.
Ok.
Why did Reed and LeBlanc kill Julia Randall?
I wanted to stop, to get out of that life. I was gonna marry Heather if she'd have me. Julia told the others that they were out, that she was gonna create a new gang.
Pues no te creo.
You're lying, Arnett. I think you ordered them to kill her. It was made to look like suicide, and when the coroner saw through that, you knew it was time to run.
I told you I was involved in the burglaries. I had nothing to do with Julia's death. Why would I need to run?
Porque tenías un ticket de tren.
Have you told Miss Swanson that you're leaving for Mexico City tomorrow night? That it's a one-way ticket?
Henry? Tell me it isn't true.
I had no choice. I wanted to marry Heather. I told Julia I wanted out, and she laughed in my face. I had to pay Willie and Jimmy a fortune to do her, and now I'm completely broke.
What you are, Buster, is under arrest.
Who is Henderson, and what is his involvement?
Tell them what you know, Henry.
Estaba muy decepcionado.
I'll stand by you if you'll only tell the truth.
There is no Henderson.
Mientes.
Tell me about your first burglary, and don't lie.
I can't remember. I don't keep a list of these things.
En serio, yo tengo una lista de contrabando.
Your first burglary was a Dr. Harold Stoneman. You want to explain how he is involved, or shall I?
Henderson is Stoneman. He was crazy about Julia. She could get him to do whatever she wished. He threw the parties, and we arranged the burglaries. Julia never let him touch her. She just kept him hanging on the promise. Drove the good doctor almost insane.
Pues qué has de tener,
Henry
amigo.
Arnett, you are under arrest for burglary and for the murder of Julia Randall.
Henderson is Stoneman, all right? I'm not the guy you want. Go talk to the good doctor.
Oh, we will, knucklehead. Meanwhile, we're fitting you for convict stripes. Hang on a moment, sister. Tell him it's Henry Arnett. And tell him it's urgent.
I can't do that.
Tell him, or I'll charge you with obstruction of justice.
Doctor, I'm afraid Mr. Arnett is here to see you, and he says it's urgent.
Send him in.
Enviámoslos.
I told you never to come.
Tell us the truth, Doctor.
I'm so glad you came. Prison will be better than insanity, and I'm already half insane with grief. Do you know that I loved her? I ruined my life for her, and yet I still love her.
Will you testify in court that Arnett and Randall did these robberies?
They organized the robberies. Julie would get the names of the guests attending my wife's parties. Didn't matter how much money I showered upon her, it was never enough. She never really cared for me.
Doctor, I'm afraid you're under arrest.
Lo siento, doctor, queda arrestado.
The practice. You'll call Dr. Gerard. No. Please don't cry. I want to see no one. Not my wife or my children, nor my friends. And I don't want a lawyer. Just lock me up and throw away the key. What have I done?
No.
Didn't see that coming.
Wow. Fuerte.
He's around here somewhere. A big guy. Neighbors say he always wears basketball shoes and a cream jacket. And get this. The kids around here say he plays the harmonica. Find a game well and have the commander set up a dragnet. We want the area closed off. We'll take this out of the street.
Okay.
Wilson Reed, LAPD, give yourself up.
Ok. Tiene un público difícil.
Hold it. He's got to be around here somewhere. No place to go unless he grew wings.
No puedes esconderte por mucho. Wow. Es un niño. Okay.
Son of a bitch really picked a spot for it up here, didn't he? Julia Randall's folks are flying in from New York tomorrow to claim the body. I saw her on the slab. So perfect. Looked like she was made of porcelain. She really made an impression on me.
Leah had that impact on a lot of men.
Christ, it's cold. You guys did good work here today. Roy, I think you should buy your brother officers a drink.
Do you now? That's very generous of you, Lieutenant.
Es una terrible guerra.
The whole company is gone, Hank. The major is dead. We're being overrun. We have to get off of this hill.
That's one of our 50 cal still firing, Cole. The 22nd are still fighting.
It's over, Cole. Looks like you're one of the lucky ones.
Say goodbye to your friend Hank, Jack.
He was your friend too, Cole. Is this how you're going to leave him? Are you wounded?
Not a scratch, Kelso.
Well, get up and get out of that fucking hole. Find a stretcher while you're at it so we can get him out of here.
Who's the senior officer here?
I guess that's you, Cole.
You were up here all night?
Yes, sir.
And your command?
Gone, sir.
Sorry to hear that, son. But God damn it, we have beaten these bastards back. It's the beginning of the end, and it was one here. You're a goddamn hero, son. What's your name?
Lieutenant Phelps, sir.
I'm recommending you for the Silver Star and promoting you to first lieutenant.